In fact, when I started shooting the video, I think it was like at noon or like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and like the sun was out. And by the time I was done pulling the baguettes out of the oven, it was like almost midnight. I found a really easy recipe for making bread. It's something that I had been shown, but I was told that I needed a Dutch oven, and I don't have one of those. Hi guys! So last time I posted any sort of bread content, it literally took me all day because I had to knead it and then like proof it and then like proof it again, and it just kept. It's a very tedious process. I was told that I needed a Dutch oven, and I don't have one of those. And so I was like, oh no, I have to go and buy a Dutch oven. But I realized that this gigantic tank of a roasting pan with a sealed lid, compliments of my mom. Thank you, 1970s Americana. I was told that will work just fine because it's not really about the size, but it's more about the fact that you're steaming the bread inside a casing of some kind. So that, I guess that means that you can use like terracotta pots and stuff too. But anyway, super easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what's in here. 3 cups of bread flour. Bread flour specifically because it has more protein, so it gives you like a chewier bread. I guess you could use like an all-purpose flour, but I think that it's not going to be. I haven't tried it, but I have a feeling it's going to be drier, you know. But anyway, so 3 cups of bread flour, and into that we go and use our teaspoon, not tablespoon. Can't do the tablespoon thing. And it says to use instant or rapid rise yeast, like so not like anything other than those. And then you just kind of sprinkle 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. I am clumsy, so if I don't put lids on things, then you know I end up with yeast everywhere. To that we add 2 teaspoons, which I thought before that was a little on the salty side. So I'm gonna actually just do 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Which I like. I do like salty-ish bread, but it's not as versatile when it's just super salty. So that's that. And then kind of mix it all together. Now the recipe that I saw said that I should be using the handle part of the mixing spoon or spatula or whatever, but I have one of these silicone ones. So I'm thinking that that's going to be easier, not as sticky. So to that, we're going to add 360 milligrams, which is the same milliliters, of very warm tap water. I don't have a liquid measuring cup, which is very different from dry measuring cups. So I'm doing it this way, which is with a scale. So 360 milliliters. Let's see how I do. Oh, perfect. Oh my God. Do you see how perfect that is? It's so perfect. Okay, so very warm tap water, and that just goes in here. And you can kind of just, I'm kind of dumping most of it in, but and they said that the dough is going to get, it's wet and you can't really knead it because it's almost too wet, but that's okay. So now that first part is incorporated. And this will make one decent sized loaf, or it's a crusty loaf, right? So you can then slice it into like sandwich slices or French toast or whatever. Or you can make like small, like those soup bowls, you know, like the sourdough loaves. This isn't sourdough, but this is still crusty loaf. You can actually make small things and put soup in it, or stew, or chili, all those things. I eventually want to see if I can modify this recipe so it's kind of a sweeter bread. Add some sugar or honey to it. But also I want to try the kind with like cubed Swiss cheese inside, which is a French bread that I used to love all the time. Growing up in Japan, there was a local bakery called Pompadour, which I think is a chain. But Pompadour used to make this amazing French bread that had cubes, little tiny, so many cubes of Swiss cheese. All you had to do was just kind of pop in the toaster, add a little butter, and that was like the perfect snack. So, okay, so once add a little bit more water. So it's always good to have a little extra laying around just in case nearby. There we go. It's a little loose like this. Not something that you can like, you can't really dump this out, you know, on a tabletop because it's still kind of wet, you know. But it's also not like thin like a pancake batter. So at this point, so now that that's all done, I'm going to go to the freezer. And I learned this little trick on, I think it was TikTok or Instagram or something, and they said that if you put your plastic wrap in the freezer rather than a drawer, then it doesn't stick to itself. And that actually works. So now I keep my plastic wrap in the freezer. So that goes there. And that just gets covered up. And in the summertime, or kind of even in the spring out here in the desert, it's warm enough to just kind of leave it like this. But I am going to go ahead and put it, I'm going to go ahead and put this on top of my stove because I was cooking on it earlier, so it's actually the warmest place in my house. So yeah, so I will be back. Oh, this stays in a warm area for 2 to 3 hours. And then after that, you can actually put it in the fridge for like a couple of days if you wanted to like keep building flavor. But I am not that kind of patient person, so I'm going to let this proof for 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll show you how to like turn this into like a ball of bread. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. Actually, it's been more like 3 hours. I went and grabbed some lunch and some errands, came back to this. It's so, like, it's definitely like double what it used to be. And it's kind of soft and jiggly. Oh, it smells Oh, that yeasty smell. So good. So, sugary, right? But lots of bubbles. So, what you do is you get a piece of parchment paper, not wax paper, parchment paper. Wax will unfortunately melt in the oven, and then you'll have bread that has wax all over it, which is not tasty. So, but baking paper like this is great. I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to get some flour. Not a whole lot, just enough to like have on the counter. So. And this can actually stay here until your oven is ready. I went ahead and preheated it for 450 degrees, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to warm up. When it heats, it'll be ready. That would be the beef. So, what I've done is I put that big kind of 1970s submarine looking roasting pan with the lid on it in the oven so that the whole thing can heat up. I am now going to take my dough on my parchment paper, and I'm just going to dump this in as is, and then so the point of using a Dutch oven or like that roasting pan with a lid is because it steams the bread, and that's why you get like the little crunchy crust. So when I did the baguette, I didn't do it that way. It was on a tray, and then you actually have to like throw in some waters to actually create the steam inside the oven. This version doesn't do that, so it's a lot faster that way. Okay, so now we wait for half an hour, and then we wait 10 minutes for it to cool, and then I'll show you what the bread looks like when I'm done. Okay, so the bread was in the oven for about 40 minutes with the lid on, and then I took the lid off and baked it for another 30 to 35 minutes-ish. I keep checking it. Your oven will be a little different. It'll be different because of humidity. The traditional recipe says it goes in the oven with the lid on for 30 minutes and then you take it off for 12, but I need somehow to bake it longer. So anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, look at that. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and take it out of its container. Actually, hold on, let me show it to you this way too. It's all crusty and crusty. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what size your roasting pan is if you don't have a Dutch oven. It doesn't necessarily matter. Like it just stays the shape that it is. So. Ooh. I just want to be really careful that I don't burn myself, because that oven was 450 degrees, so it's like a scorching hot oven. So obviously my roasting pan is also just as hot. If I was more of a patient person, I would let this cool down, not just take it off the paper on my own with my hands, but I am not a patient person. There we go. Smells amazing. Get these crumbs out of the way. back in like 10-15 minutes and we can like cut a slice off and show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so we've given it about 10-15 minutes to kind of chill out. So like I can actually pick it up. And look at this bread. Look, look, look. So golden on the bottom. And because I use a larger roasting pan, that's why it's kind of on the flatter side. You can either cut it, you know, this way, or you can actually cut it this way and make like a giant flat like muffaletta sandwich or something. But I tend to like smaller slices of bread because I shouldn't be eating a lot of bread. So. Yeah. If you can see the steam coming off of it, but it's steamy. Oh, it smells so good too. So I have my buttered little pieces of bread. I have my cup of tea. So I'm gonna go and it's already dark outside, but it's not even 6 p.m. It's that's just winter here in the desert, I guess. By the time it's summertime, it's pretty bright until like 9 p.m. So anyway, gonna go have a nice snack, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you next time.